to another episode of Raising OKC Kids, Conversations with Metro Family in Oklahoma City. I'm Kirsten Holder, and today we're talking with Umo Callins, registered dietitian and certified personal trainer. Uma owns Well Rooted Health and Nutrition, a private practice space in Oklahoma City where she works with individuals and families to improve health and well-being with nutrition and lifestyle changes. She also co-owns a gym, 180 Physique in Edmond with her husband. So Uma, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Kirsten, for having me. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, yes. And with the new year comes new me, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about today, even though 2021 may not look just so different from 2020. There are some things that we can take into our own hands. And January is that typical month that these mantras start. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to be the healthiest version of myself. I'm going to stop eating Chick-fil-A. Unless, of course, you burn the dinner that you had planned and then have to take a last minute detour to Chick-fil-A, but not that that's happened in my household or anything. I have seen the mood on social media shifting a bit. The idea of walk slowly, don't touch anything has been a meme shared by many of our readers. So Uma, what are the pros and cons of both of these mindsets, the start fresh and new or this kind of continue on carefully mindset? Do you see resolutions around health being different this year?
I definitely do see that there's a different approach. I think that there's going to be a lot more of an effort for improved preventative health. With the pandemic, of course, and a lot of the information that's been put out about vitamin D and ways to boost your immune system. So that on top of just trying to get rid of the holiday gunk and all the yummy food that we all, enjoyed, including myself. So I think there's definitely the extremes of, the new year, new you, get back into the flow, but also people that are erring on the side of caution and not trying to set their hopes too high. So taking it day by day, I think, is a really good approach. Definitely setting good goals for yourself and making sure they're realistic, and just really kind of allowing ourselves to have a little bit of grace as well. Like, we did just come off of a really tough year. Don't set your expectations too high, but at the same time, have some optimism going into this year.
It seems like that attitude can really benefit you in long term rather than the short, quick turnarounds that sometimes get us into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on that note, no one really knows what 2021 is going to hold. I mean, we know that healthful eating and taking care of ourselves will help protect our physical and mental well-being. But sometimes our best intentions can go by the wayside when we're stressed, when we're hangry. We've talked about that on this podcast often, or when we're in a crunch. We certainly don't want to add to the to-do lists and the mental load of parents. They're carrying such heavy things right now. So maybe let's try to make it easy. Let's package together some things. Uma, what are your go-to healthy dinner staples that we can throw together in a pinch?
Well, I definitely am a huge fan of air fryer and Instant Pot. I just think that it's, being parents, having kids, learning virtually, just having so many things we're juggling, time management is so key. And those are some really great time savers. So you can make a lot of really great dishes, such as soups and stews in those, or, change up the texture and vegetables, which is always great for kids in the air fryer. But as far as my family goes, we do a lot of one-pan meals where everything is on the meal. So you've got your protein, you've got your vegetables, you've got your starch. They all kind of come together and the flavors all mix really well. It doesn't take that long to prepare. You can get your kids involved in preparation as well. And then we just do some simple things like wraps and, sometimes we do sandwiches. We just switch it up. And theme nights are really fun too, because it just keeps it simple. Taco Tuesday, Fun Friday, whatever have you. So just keeping it simple, but allowing for some variety. And then if you do have some things that can cut back on the prep work and the time it takes to prepare the meals, I think that's key.
Absolutely. Yeah, I like that one pan meal idea too, that it sounds easy. Just when you're talking about it, it doesn't sound like it's going to take a long time. It sounds like it's going to come together really quickly from the time you get home to the time you need dinner on the table.
Yes, the one pan meals are great, and a lot of times you can get the vegetables just already prepared. So whether it's like broccoli or cauliflower florets, butternut squash, even diced up sweet potatoes, whatever, and then just literally put a little bit of olive oil, season it up with some herbs and spices, get whatever protein you want, salmon, chicken, and it really is that simple.
I love
So
that. Yeah.
it's a hit at our house.
All healthy ingredients too.
Yeah, but I mean, fun stuff's good too. We definitely do pizza. I mean, let's just be honest, house full of kids. So
I don't want to live in a world where there's not pizza. So I'm glad to hear you say that.
pizza wins. Pizza wins always.
Yes, and so we're talking about, kind of coming home from work, trying to get everybody together. It's likely that the mood, at least it is in my house, is a little stressed. It's a little chaotic. We're all kind of coming down from the day we had together, and then, like we said, on top of the load that parents are carrying right now, this mental load.
Yeah.
So, mental wellness and eating are inextricably linked. And when I start talking about this, I'm not talking about, giving your emotions a hug by eating a pint of ice cream. Um, can you tell us a little bit about how healthy eating and mental wellness are so related and how we can take care of our mental health with food?
Absolutely. Well, to keep things pretty simple, I mean, when you're eating more foods that are higher nutrient content, I mean, that really helps with our stress, our hormonal balance, which is connected to stress, anxiety, depression. So, more nutrient dense foods naturally makes us feel better and operate and function better, all the way down to digestion, how well we absorb foods. And on the flip side, if we're not eating those foods, we're eating a lot of things that are processed and not high in nutrient content, then that's obviously going to translate on how we feel. So it is definitely a good perspective to have when we're kind of torn with, hey, should we just go through a drive-through, how often we're going to do that, or really try to shift the patterns of what we eat, and provide for our families. So it really does come down to that there is such a huge connection between food and mood. So as opposed to, trying to cope in other ways, that might not be as healthy, I definitely think going down to just those foundational pieces of nutrition, even having a positive outlet for physical activity, just to release all of that is really important. So it's all interconnected.
Absolutely. I know the days that I am just reaching for high sodium, chips or corn chips are just like my go-to chips and salsa, which is terrible. Or carbs. I start snapping at everyone and I don't want to be that mom.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's ways to actually make some of those things healthier without completely changing it. So maybe we do, some guacamole that could be really tasty, but you're getting those avocados that are so rich in nutrients, healthy fats, the things that we really need. And then maybe you get some fresh veggies or, and just dip it in as opposed to the chips. So you're still getting those textures and the same concept, but you are adding so much more nutrition to the snack. So
I love that.
definitely ways to still do that, just a little bit different.
Well, and guacamole, I mean, that is a great idea. I love
Mhm,
guacamole and I don't know
mhm.
anyone who doesn't. So that's a great.
Yeah, and it's really fun to make.
That's true.
It's
And
really fun to make.
that's a great thing to make to and have kids in the kitchen with you as well.
Yes, yes, very much so. I mean, just having some of those ingredients, however you choose to make it out, and just allowing them to mix it, they just go giggly and have fun with how squishy it is, and it can be very fun. So
And you have young children in your home.
yes.
Are you letting them kind of kitchen prep and dinner prep alongside you?
Yeah, depending, of course, on what we're preparing, but if we're having something like if we're making a big salad, for instance, and we have different ingredients, I'll just say, okay, you can add this and you can add this. And it really does encourage them to consume what's being prepared because they feel like, hey, I've taken part of this, I help you make this. And so it can be a real fun activity for them. It's learning, so they understand, hey, this isn't that hard. I can make things. They feel empowered. And it's just fun. It's a good bonding moment.
Absolutely. That's so
Yeah.
sweet. I
Yeah.
just have a little toddler and he is all about the snacks right now. I'm excited to
Yes.
get him in the kitchen with me, but we are not quite there yet.
Yes. It'll
um,
happen.
Yes. So, of course, he thinks my purse, the sole reason I carry a purse, of course, is to carry around snacks for him. And I think a lot of our
Yes.
listeners and our readers probably have that attitude in their house too. So, what are some fun, easy, craving satisfying, and kid friendly snacks that we should always have in our toddler bag of snacks?
Well, there's a lot of things that you can do, but some simple things like some dry cereals. So there's a lot of really great options nowadays that are high in fiber, maybe even high in plant-based protein. So you get a nice complete snack, and it's really filling versus some of those things that are just high in starch without all the other good benefits to it. So I find that Sprouts has such a good variety. Every time I go or I'm on the app, I'm just looking at what's new. So that's a really good one. Of course, kids tend to like baby carrots, apple slices. We really like freeze dried fruit. So I actually prefer the ones from Dollar General. Great buy, perfectly packaged, no processing. And they're a good, nice, crunchy, different way to get them to eat fruit. So there's, quite a few good things out there. It's just a matter of try to maybe fill in the gaps of what they may not be getting in their other meals and using the snacks as an opportunity to get those in. So berries, grapes, all the things in between.
Love that. Yeah. And so a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff could work for a snack for me too, which I always
Yeah.
like those dual purpose snacks in my purse.
Absolutely. Absolutely. More bang for your buck.
Absolutely. So, let's talk about seasonal ingredients. You just mentioned kind of looking on the Sprouts app and seeing what's new. Why should we be cooking with seasonal ingredients, or is it important at all? What is the benefit of following what food is in season?
Well, number one, it's going to taste so much better when it's in season. I always like to use the example of watermelons. We know that they are at their peak in July, and they're always so sweet and juicy because they're in season. So you're going to get the highest nutrient value and content of the produce in the season. It's going to be a lot more, affordable as well. So a lot better value as far as how you can extend your dollar, just because it's in season, and it's going to be a lot more readily available. So lots of benefits. I think for us, it's really about flavor, and of course, right after that, then the nutrient content and benefit that you'll be able to get from those seasonal produce.
You're right. Yeah, there is nothing worse than biting into a watermelon and it's just not that sweet watermelon you remembered last year.
Yes, absolutely. Like I know I experienced that kind of getting them, towards middle fall or it's September, October, and it's a clear difference.
That's so
So
disappointing.
it is. It is. It really, really is. But then on the flip side, getting things like winter grapes in the winter, it's just amazing. So much flavor.
Yeah,
So you end up craving those things more too, I feel like.
absolutely. That's great. So we are unfortunately still facing the pandemic. We're also in cold and flu season as well. I think we would be amiss if we didn't talk about what things we should be doing to boost our immune system or to keep our immune system strong. Do you have like three top go tos to really protect our immune systems this year?
Absolutely. I definitely think just ensuring that, of course, foundational, trying to look at your diet, take a good glance at it and see, okay, are we getting in, a good variety and amount daily, day in and day out of fruits and vegetables, fiber, all of the essentials. So starting with your diet as a whole, hydration is huge. It tends to be a little bit difficult to drink more water, I feel like, when it's colder. So just making that a top priority and, figuring out maybe ways to increase the water content even in the foods that you eat. So more soup, stews, more produce, all of that can definitely tie into that. And then with all of that, ensuring that you're getting a lot of immune boosting nutrients in the diet, such as vitamin D, vitamin C, zinc. And it's totally fine and encouraged to supplement some of those with a daily multivitamin.
Absolutely. So, what are some of the best ways that you have found? I mean, you mentioned soup stews, you mentioned kind of getting your hydration through some of the produce you eat. But with kids, I mean, I don't want to be following my child around with a juice box. I'd rather have him drink water. Do you have any tips for helping kids stay hydrated throughout the day, too?
Absolutely. I think, just number one, educating them. Simple things like, hey, you got to make sure you're drinking enough water. I know for us in our household, I'm always talking about if you don't want your tummy to hurt, make sure you're drinking enough water. If you're having tummy issues. And so they're like, okay. And then maybe even just really trying to lead by example. So if you're drinking your water often, then more than likely your kids are going to do the same. So that's really key. And just strategizing. I know for us, we like to get our kids have it. We always provide water with every meal that they eat, as well as their snacks. And sometimes we say, okay, you need to try to get through this bottle by such and such time. So it becomes kind of like a fun game. So just strategizing and coming up with ways. Doing fruit infused water is perfectly fine too.
I love fruit infused water. And I love that you just
Delicious.
mentioned making it a game too. I mean, it's so real nowadays that everything needs to be kind of like that gamification mindset.
Yes.
So if you're reaching
Yes.
a certain level on your water bottle, I'm going to use that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, it really works. It's like, I beat you. I'm like, okay, good job.
Yeah, little friendly
Keep it going.
competition. That is just awesome. Well, Umo, thank you so much. I think the things we talked about today, the tips you gave, can really kind of help break some of this down for families that are busy and have so much on their shoulders right now. But hopefully, this will help. Kind of lighten the load. What we talked about today. Is there anything you'd like to leave with our readers and listeners today?
Yes, absolutely. Well, number one, thank you for having me. But I would just say, as parents, families, give yourself grace, take everything day by day, moment by moment. I think that's what is one of the best ways to limit our anxiety and stress. We don't think too far ahead and just try not to sweat the small stuff. We're all weathering the storm together in different boats. So, yeah, that's my kind of take home is just don't put so much pressure on ourselves.
I like that advice. I need less pressure in my life, so thank you.
Yeah. Absolutely. We all could use it. Yeah. Myself included.
We are so thankful you have been with us today, Uma. And for all of you listening, these surprisingly easy recipes that Uma had mentioned for health and fun in the new year can actually be found, some of them on our website, by searching Uma Callins. Or you can find her at Well Rooted Health and Nutrition or 180 Physique in Edmond. You can also follow her at wellrooted_HN on social media or wellrootedhn.com. Thank you so much again, and join us next time on Raising OKC Kids.